You all know this iconic painting as James McNeill Whistler's mother, but that's not its original title. Take the picture of my mother, exhibited at the Royal Academy as an arrangement in grey and black. Now that is what it is. To me, it is interesting as a picture of my mother, but what can or ought the public to care about the identity of the portrait? Whistler saw this painting, or at the very least believed the public should see it, as simply an arrangement in grey and black. When you look at this painting, you shouldn't care about its subject matter. No, you should care about the nuances of grey, the different blacks in the composition, and how all these tones bounce off each other. Whistler wanted you to look at this image as an abstract artwork, without it being abstract because abstraction didn't really exist yet. He made Arrangement in Grey and Black No. 2 a year later in 1873, where, again, the identity of the sitter isn't important. Let yourself be moved by the shades. As you know, I'm not really into talking about the different shades and tones in paintings or talk about the brushstrokes or the composition. Art is moving in the narrative it creates or that we create for it. We want stories, emotions, ideas, and single images. Artworks have given that for centuries. So when I was doing research on Arrangement in Grey and Black No. 1, I was looking for a narrative, a story, an idea, or a lesson to take from this artwork. Whistler refused to give any. This is art for art's sake. There's no meaning other than the fact that it exists. So I looked for meaning, thought maybe I can create one through the figure of the mother as many other people have. So I did research on Whistler's mother, and I found something quite interesting about Whistler's family which isn't often discussed. Probably because it's extremely taboo and could tarnish the reputation of one of the most recognized American artists ever. I want to thank all the new patrons who decide to support the channel in my last video. There's this feature where you can pay annually and get a 10% discount, meaning you can be in the credits at the end of each of my videos for as little as 90 cents per month. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. A decade before Arrangement in Grey and Black No. 1, Whistler painted Symphony in White No. 1, and later in 1875, he painted the controversial Nocturne in Black and Gold, The Falling Rocket. I made a video on Art for Art's Sake, Does Art Need Purpose, and used Nocturne in Black and Gold as a case study. Whistler's artworks are hard to give meaning to because they're meant to be pure aesthetics, purely appreciated for their beauty despite their subject matter. But what if we did look into the subjects he painted? Thomas Carlyle wrote a controversial book in 1849 titled Occasional Discourse on the Question. It excused slavery. That was about a decade before the Civil War. So where was Whistler during the Civil War? Well, he was in Europe, focusing on his art. But what did he think of it? His brother served in the Confederate Army. Whistler's mother spent her summers at a plantation, and according to Dr. Joanna Meacock, his great-uncle Zephaniah Kingsley Jr. was a slave trader and plantation owner in Florida who took 4 enslaved African wives. The first, Anna Majijinjai, was only 13 when he bought and married her. Whistler's letters are littered with racist language. In 1867, in a letter to William Bolla titled Assault on a Passenger on the Steamer Shannon, Whistler writes, "This passenger was simply among several forced upon our company on board. The degree to which he offended my prejudices as a Southerner who for the first time found was on the same table led finally to our coming into collision. By coming into collision, Whistler means that he assaulted the man. Finally, what confirms Whistler's position on the Civil War can be found in the conclusion of a letter he wrote to George Washington Curtis Lee, Robert E. Lee's son. Let me recall myself to your recollection as an old West Point comrade who has never forgotten the high opinion all held of yourself and the veneration we had of your father. Alright, so how can this information help us better appreciate this artwork? Honestly, I don't know if it can. I was hoping to perhaps find a tension between Whistler's opinions as a bohemian avant-garde artist and the opinions of his mother, but I couldn't find any. If anything, this painting was made in England after the Whistlers, including John's brother, went into exile. There's value there, as this isn't only a painting of a mother, but one of an immigrant mother, one who left her war-torn country at the age of 59 and never went back as her side of the conflict lost. Though this may not be much to go off of and appreciate this painting, I think it's better than an appreciation of tones. I think that if you choose to look at this painting as a Confederate mother who fled her country, then this may greatly affect the way you see it, and perhaps, and I hope it does, it will stick with you, and whether you view this interpretation as positive or negative, at least it will contribute to an engagement with it. One that's a bit more meaningful than these are some nice tones of gray. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you Axel, Roman Brandel, X-Towns, Jonathan, and all my other patrons for supporting the channel. If you also want to help out, leave a like, subscribe, and check out patreon.com/thecanvas. Thank you.